Is this smart?
I think we left smart 6 weeks ago.
I was on my way to you.
What's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Sammy Leggett here representing Team JVS. I'm back here again for another movie review. This movie is coming out this Friday. The name of it is Marry Me. This is actually, I didn't know this, but this was actually created from a graphic novel by Bobby Crosby, which is kind of like, the backdrop is you got like a superstar that, you know, has their song like to initiate their upcoming marriage to their other superstar fiance, and something happens tragic and she ends up realizing that this is not the person she wants to be with, and instead of marrying him, she picks somebody from out the crowd, and the person just happens to have a sign that says "Marry Me," and that's what happens. But Owen Wilson plays the role of Charlie. Charlie is a mathematician. His daughter's name is Louie. And, you know, he's a simple dude. Like, he's had a marriage before. It didn't work out. And he's been content within his own world. And he just happens to go to this concert. And Jennifer Lopez, who is the superstar, like, international superstar, which she actually is in real life, ends up picking him out of the crowd, picks him to come up stage, and she proposes to him, and he answers, and they legitimately get married up there on stage. But what does that mean? What did I feel about the movie? Now, I'll say this. I suspected that this would be a cute, you know, movie to watch, especially so close to Valentine's Day. I think this initially was supposed to be dropping like May the 14th, but now it's going to be coming out really soon, which I'm really happy about, because I think that this is something that in the theaters I think people will be like kind of enjoying. It also has like Silverman in it. It's got Jimmy Fallon in it. The person that was Jennifer Lopez's fiance is the international superstar Maluma, and I think that he was just in concert, which is really fascinating. But it also has, what's my man that plays Sam in Game of Thrones? I think it was John Bradley, because he plays the person that's kind of like the secretary, the person that really is the right-wing man person for Kat, who is Jennifer Lopez's character. And I think that it's actually pretty cute, but I'm going to break it down, because I'm kind of talking around a lot of different things. Because the things I'm finding out about it I didn't realize, which namely was the one that is a graphic novel. But in terms of the film, I think that it was really interesting because they used a lot of different things that were the social media route that I was surprised about. Like all different things that would probably happen naturally, like for a person that is living that superstar life and what the ramifications of that is. I did like that part of how it was actually directed. This is also directed by Kate Curio, and I think that she's going to be actually directing the She-Hulk series, which is really interesting. The cinematography was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I think that the musical moments and the songs that were actually performed by both of these amazing superstars were great. It's much like, if you've seen Don't Look Up, like what they were able to do with that they took a totally different route with this one, where it was like, okay, they actually have a superstar. They allowed her to actually come up with her own songs. I think that it was multiple different original songs that she kind of came up with for this. The one song, Marry Me, was actually really well performed. Like, it's a really good song. I was really surprised by it. And then also the backdrop, like a lot of the sets for the design and the moments and like the makeup and the costume design, all the different things that were, you know, for a superstar, like they really do that up very well. I think another thing that works really well is Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is hilarious. And I think that he's just so plain and naturally giftedly funny that, you know, every moment that he was with Jennifer Lopez and their quiet moments and also their funny moments, I think that it worked to make the chemistry work out. There were times where I felt like the chemistry didn't work. It kind of felt like it was really forced and a fish out of water, but I think naturally it would be. Like, if this person legitimately is probably one of the most beautiful women on the planet, and got this guy that's just a normal dude, you know, just got a sweetheart, people would be like, wait, how does this work? But I think that a part of it also has to be natural chemistry between the actors. And I think that they do have it more than they don't. There are certain scenes that don't work. And I think certain scenes, I think they dramatified to make it more like, oh, well, you got to go for the attempt. But I think that at the end of the day, I think that they do work. I think that also the actress that plays the role of his daughter, Lou, I think she does a really good job fitting in that role. Sarah Silverman, I think, is always hilarious. I think she does a really good job. I think in this one, like she leaves her mark on this. I think she does a really good job with it. The things that I didn't think worked were the unbelievable aspects of how some of the reactions that a person on the receiving end of this would be. Because, like, the character Charlie, in all honesty, like, he's a math teacher. And it's kind of like, they literally are in different worlds. It doesn't mean that a person's not going to, like, level out to... But it's like, he was, in the very beginning, he wasn't even willing to do social media. Like, it was a lot of different things that he just wasn't willing to do. And so it kind of was like, when, you know, things started to get really shaky, like, I felt like some of the questions and the things from the dialogue and the script really kind of didn't make sense to me. Whereas it was more so like, I think that more people from the social side would be having a lot more impact than the circumstance it was having. I think that they could have played up the social media aspect and the life-threatening things that happen with that to make the realism a lot more grounded. But I think that this could be playing more towards what the graphic novel was. I don't really know, and that's why I said that this posed a really interesting concept. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was actually really cute. The majority of the movie, I kid you not, I was like this. Like, I was like, and it's like, it wasn't like, oh man, that's stupid, oh, this is dumb. Like, legitimately, there's some sweet moments. Like, I was rooting for this odd couple, like, legitimately. But there are moments where I felt like, you know, like, this moment is just a little too rushed, or that's just kind of like believable, but it isn't. And I think when things start to ramp up around the second act, like, things start to like go boom, boom, boom. And because the movie, it's got an hour and 12 mark on it, like, I felt like some stuff could have been like fleshed out a little bit easier. Because when things start to go, like, the shock of the reality of the thing, I think should hit both individuals differently. And I think that they do that in certain ways subtly, but I think when it starts to cross certain lines, that I felt like, man, they really should go for it. But instead, they just bow for time and progression and story. And I think that the third act, well, I thought it was really cute. And also the end credits are some real life things that actually really are really cool how they played those out. I felt like it was kind of rushed, and I felt like it was just to get to this punchline, and it became just like a cliche cookie cutter, like, normal, like, romantic comedy that you've seen before. But they did not drop the bag. I don't think that this was a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. And I would watch this again. I think I probably will try to watch this with my wife. I think she might really enjoy it, and I think that some of you guys might have a lot of fun with it as well. I'd rest this at a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. And I think that the music in it is so good. And I think that the choreography between it and those scenes are really good. But I think that the essence behind it is really rich, because the dialogue in the very beginning is so quick. But there's some real questions and real consequences. I think in the first act, it's so much stronger, to the point when it gets to the second act that they start, like, instead of like, oh, okay, let's really still keep asking these real questions, they instead just try to progress it forward. And I think that could have been very vastly different. There's a movie, I can't think of the name of it, that I remember that I felt like it was Tracy Ross was in it. And it reminded me of that, because the soundtrack for that was actually really good as well. And Tracy Ross played like a diva, basically. And it was the high note. That's it. this plays a little bit like that in the way that things progress and how things happen. Fish out of water situation. But I think that this is way more romantic for sure. But I think that the high note, I think, left a really good impression on me that, like, I think it's a more superior film, but I think that this one may cater to a lot more people. And I think a lot of people are really going to just enjoy how sweet it actually is, like how natural things really kind of come up. But you guys let me know. Let me know what you think about Marry Me. I rest this again at a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth watching with your significant other. And I think that there are certain moments that I think that ask real questions about scenarios like this and what social media does, what it perpetuates, what is your idea and your perspective on love. So again, I think from the script standpoint and from the backdrop of the story, there's a lot there. I think it just could have been fleshed out a little bit more naturally, given a little bit more breathing room, made it more realistic, certain aspects, and allowing social media to also be quintessentially the catalyst to this happening and also possibly the downfall. So let me know what you guys think. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.
Falling out the top of the I can see skyline.